Hi and welcome to the Beer Temple. I am Chris Quinn, coming to you from the depths of the Beer Temple store. Soon we will be getting some upgrades, but for now it's funny. I've always kind of harped on this place, but I think I am going to miss being down here in the cave, as I call it. But anyway, I am down here because I am very excited about a couple beers that I have received from our friends at Hill Farmstead. I paused, not for a dramatic pause because I wanted to kind of build the anticipation of where this was coming from, but because I was trying to decide if I should say it came from Wunderkammer beer or from Hill Farmstead, but I think it is Hill Farmstead is who it came from. Specifically, Mike Sardina reached out to me, a friend of mine who works out there, and asked if I'd have any interest in trying these beers after I had sent some scratch beers along the way out there. And so we did a little bit of a trade, and I am really excited to try these beers. So the deal with these Wunderkammer beers are, or is it Wunderkammer, is there is a gentleman who works at Hill Farm who I believe is or was also a puppeteer in the Vermont area at one time. And he is doing a lot of foraged / found ingredient beers. And for those of you who know me, you know there might be one or two breweries that specialize in that sort of stuff that I have a liking for. So Mike very kindly out at Hill Farm thought that I might like these as well, and I am very excited to try them. So this is, I'm just going to kind of get right into it. Basically, from what I've been able to gather, which I didn't want to look too much into the specifics of the beer, I just wanted to try them, this is almost like a little side project of a brewer at Hill Farm, and the beer gets made there and sold mainly, I think, through Hill Farmstead's distribution channels, which would be, their on-site bottle shop and maybe a few other accounts in the area. And this one, the bottle says, "Let there be Wunder." It's kind of funny. It almost has like a carnival barker phrasing to it. It says, "A tour through creation and science comprising the mostly surprising." They have a whole bunch of ingredients here, like volcanoes, caverns, whirlpools, but the three that are highlighted are citrus, wheat beer, and sumac from Wunderkammer beer, and wonderful and stupendous phenomena of nature, Volume 1. Wheat beer brewed with sumac and citrus and fermented in an oak barrel. So that makes me maybe think that it's a one barrel batch. I don't know if that's the case. I guess this beer was probably done in, well, who knows, they could have blended, but whatever. We have 1, 2, and 3, so I figured I would just go right down the line. So this is one, which is a wheat beer with citrus and sumac, aged in oak. I'm a little surprised at the color of it. As you can see, it almost has like a rosé or a blush color to it. Fairly clear, just a hint of haze there. These bottles are all cold. I wanted to kind of store them cold, one, to kind of keep them in kind of prime condition as long as possible. And two, sometimes with these wild beers, they can kind of erupt on you, and chilling them down actually really helps keep that carbonation in solution. So that's why I did that. But sometimes you can get a little haze. I don't know if that's why that's happening here, but anyway, quite effervescent. Oh man, it's got a really vinous quality to it. Pardon me, I'm curious what was on here before. Brittany's sitting right there and she's got headphones on. You guys don't get to hear the burps, but I'm sure that her ears just erupted in a belch. So that's what making the sausage looks like, Brittany. Anyway, really nice fruity vinous quality to it. What I was going to say is I'm curious what the oak barrel held before this beer. Certainly to me seems like some sort of sour beer or wine, because it has a really vinous aroma to it. Yeah, I mean, to me that's what I'm getting. I'm getting mainly a little bit of like stone fruit and red wine and maybe slight oak. Yeah, well, definitely some oak as well, but not like big kind of toasted oak things. Man, this is really good. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I forgot to say who the head brewer of these beers are. It's Vasilios Gletsos. Is that right? I hope I got your name right, Vasilios. Thank you so much for sending these beers. You know, like I said, I didn't look too much into these beers. This beer is phenomenal. Really nice. It has a wonderful, again, I'm going to use the term vinous, start to this beer. And I'm like kind of stammering now. It's got a nice kind of fruity acidity to it. And then it never kind of is out of balance. I think the oak and then actually a little bit of sweetness kind of comes through as well to kind of round out the beer. Really soft and just with a nice tartness to it. Almost like I want to say like just a slight earthy quality to it, but I don't know if that's me just saying that because I know that there's sumac in there. The only other sumac beer I've had is from scratch, and that was pretty darn earthy and fruity as well. But yeah, I mean, to me, if I was going to equate this to like what I would imagine this beer would be, I would say it's like an American Wild aged in a wine barrel with maybe a little bit of like a berry in it, either like raspberry, blackberry, something like that. Really nice, really well done. Wow, kind of set the bar high with that one. One of the better American Wild Ales I've had recently. Really good. This is number 2. I didn't even go into it because I'm just excited to try it. This is volume 2, Buffo, ale brewed with lichen, mushrooms, some sticks and leaves, as well as other typical brewing materials, fermented in an oak barrel. And it's got a picture of a little toad there. Very cool. Producing facility that uses wild yeast and bacteria. So it sounds like this one is going to be a little more earthy. It's got some, you know, moss and mushrooms and stuff in there. I believe this one, if I remember correctly, was a Beer to Guard base beer, which is funny. Again, you know, my main reference point for this sort of stuff is Scratch here in Illinois, and I know that they are big fans of the Beer to Guard style too. It has a little bit of, well, again, it's kind of an earthy beer to begin with, a little bit of kind of a malt character and some sweetness that I think kind of balances out some of these earthy flavors really well. Beautiful looking beer, kind of dark golden, really nice clarity. Kind of like a mild, like earthy forest floor type thing. You know, what do you say? Like sticks and things is what this was brewed in. Sticks and leaves. To me, this is maybe some sticks and green leaves rather than kind of autumnal dried leaves. It's got just a mild earthy green character to it, on top of just a pleasant kind of bready note as well. it's nice. It definitely has that. Oh wow, this is cool. Hold on. So the first thing you get is almost like a lemony or a like sour orange kind of component to it. It has a very nice soft mouthfeel, and then it ends with like this kind of nice crisp acidity, and then I kind of swallowed it and I breathed out, and that's where I got a lot of that kind of forest floor, earthy, maybe that licheny note to it. Maybe a hint mushroom, but I think of mushroom as being kind of intensely earthy. Then again, you know, when you've got, there are certainly other, you know, more buttery, more pungent mushrooms as well, and I don't know what type of mushrooms were used here. But the flavors are really layered. Even as this is warming up, I'm starting to get more of that kind of, you know, sticks and leaves and things character to it, or at least what I'm perceiving it to be. Yeah, so it's like very tart, almost maybe like a yuzu, lemon limey note to it. Now, the flavor is very tart. It's this piercing citrus flavor, but it's not an overwhelmingly sour beer at all. In fact, this beer might be more, you know, higher in acidity compared to this one, but it's just kind of a piercing acidity with a very interesting, just bready base to it. And yeah, just finally underneath all of that is just a very earthy, subtle, kind of warm, I don't know, sticky, leafy thing. And I mean, it tastes like, yeah, like a nice green, lush forest. It's really cool. Really, really awesome. Way to go. I am wholly impressed. All right, the third one is Volume 3, Stone Axe, Skull Fragments. This is ale brewed with corn, beans, and squash, fermented in oak, with mixed culture and blended with other oak aged ale. So yeah, that's all it says. Yeah, it's got their email out there, so it's Wunderkammer beer, BIER, at gmail.com if anyone wants to reach out to these guys and beg for their beers. Oh, look at that. That was weird. I've never seen that before. It's got a little stopper inside the cap, unless they all had it. Oh, just fell out. Odd. All right then. I don't have a rinse or anything, so we'll just have to. All right, Volume 3 pours beautifully. I mean, I would say the clearest of the three. Nice, beautiful, fluffy head there. What does it say it has in there? Corn, beans, and squash. Okay. Man, there's something that's escaping me. Some sort of flavor memory that I can't pull up. That will come to me in. Oh, you guys are gonna make fun of me, but what it reminds me of is almost like a crocheted blanket or something in your grandmother's house. I don't know, something about that. It's got this kind of, it's not musty, it's not moldy, not mothballs. I'm not thinking, I didn't have that kind of grandmother. Her house smelled great. But yeah, just an interesting, I don't know, almost like wool smell to it, which I don't think really has a smell, but to me, that's what I'm thinking. Really full mouthfeel. I was not expecting that. Very full mouthfeel. Just kind of is thick in your mouth. really full. It has, again, a kind of a lemony citrus, very like pure lactic acid note to it, which kind of goes well with this kind of big round mouthfeel. You know, I'm getting again an earthy quality to it. I'm curious if it's the residuals from this beer in there. Really clean, full, kind of slightly bready flavor. This huge mouthfeel, which is wild, and then just this piercing, lemony, citric acidity to it. I get a little bit of oakiness, maybe even a little bit of tannin. Now that's kind of growing my palate, which is kind of a nice counterbalance and kind of steps in for some of this, you know, bitterness, and kind of helps close out the beer. Really nice. I want to know what the heck is. Maybe it's the squash. I don't know. I think the corn would dry out the beer, but I wonder if they did something to offset how dry the corn could make a beer. Who knows? Very interesting beer. All three really, really nice. So if this is the first three offerings from Wunderkammer beer, then I think you guys are in for a treat when you guys try these. I like them all. If I had a personal favorite, I would say probably this guy, but I really think that all of these are really fun, special beers, especially because of how they're being made. I'll pull these in a little bit so you guys can see them. Hopefully they weren't getting cut off the entire time. Just how they're being made. I mean, how interesting is it that this is, you know, major components of this are foraged or found ingredients, and then being able to pull something together that just doesn't feel like you pick something off the ground and decided to brew a beer with it. Really a lot of thought was put behind these beers, and it shows. So really, really cool. One of the most interesting new breweries that I've tasted in recent memory. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So well done to Vasilios, and thank you so much for sending that. Thanks also to Mike for sending this stuff along as well. And thank all you guys for watching. Again, you know, always feel free to drop us an email or kind of any note that you want to send to me. We're on, you know, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, Instagram. So there you have it. It's been a lot of fun trying some of these Wunderkammer beers. I hope you enjoyed watching it, but I've got to go. I've got some great foraged beer to drink. Hopefully you do too. Cheers.